Welcome to another video. Today's video it's another Valentine's Day card, but I'm actually going to focus on how to do the subtle backgrounds. This is nice to use whenever you have a solid piece of paper that you're going to use as the base, but you aren't using quite as many pattern papers on top of it. It's a way to add a little bit of something to the card itself without having to add another layer of paper on top. So I just have a piece of Basil Nautical Blue Light cardstock here, and I've just folded it, cut it and folded it to be a standard sized card. I did the same thing in this pink, and you'll see it sitting here throughout most of the video, but I'm going to use it for something else later, so I'm not going to show it at the end, but you'll see it sitting here on the desk. I have this heart stamp that I'm using from the K&I Memories It's a Boy set. I believe it's also in the It's the Girl set, but I can't remember. And I'm also going to use Versamark ink here, so I've just mounted my stamp on my little acrylic block. I just have a piece of scrap paper here to use whenever I'm filling in the hearts on the background. So I'm just randomly stamping here into the Versamark, then onto the paper, into the Versamark, and onto the paper, and you'll see I've sped it up here so you can see the whole process. I just constantly am turning the paper, not turning the stamp because that just seems too difficult for me, but I'm turning the paper so the hearts are going in all different directions, just randomly placing them in, filling up the space as well as running them off the edge to make it a complete pattern. Alright. A few more to kind of fill in the gaps, and you'll be able to see it more in the pictures at the end, but it's just a kind of a very subtle pattern. You can do this too if you have, I've done it with a brown card base, and then I used brown ink. It just kind of gave it a tone-on-tone effect. This tag I'm using, I'm actually cutting from this is from Echo Park Paper Company Little Girl Journaling Cards. It came on a 12 by 12 sheet. I've used it for a few different things, but I'm just cutting out this Love You tag. And this polka dotted paper is actually from My Mind's Eye Lime Twist Life of the Party Sweet Bonbon paper. It's a 12 by 12 sheet. The other side has pink stripes, which I've used on another card in this Valentine's set of card videos. I'm just measuring the tag. Unless you're using the exact same tag, the measurements don't really matter here, but I'm just trying to get it lined up to where it fits well on the polka dotted piece here. Basically what I've done the polka dotted piece to be almost as tall as the card base, and I've got it landscape with the fold at the top. But I just want it to be about 1/4 of an inch wide on each side of the tag. Maybe 3/4 of an inch wide, or 5/8, somewhere in that range. Just enough to be able to see the pattern, but not too much that it takes up the whole card base. And I've left an open section under the tag because I'm going to add some ribbon here at the bottom shortly. I'm adhering the tag itself with some small dimensional adhesives. I've noticed just about every card I make, I use a dimensional adhesive to give it a little bit of depth. I do very few one-layer cards. Maybe I should try to do that as a challenge to myself, but I don't do that many of them. I like to layer patterns and use tags and use embellishments. So that's usually the typical route I go. Just centering it here at the top of this pattern piece. If you don't have a tag, you could easily make something similar just with a stamp and then use a marker to create some sort of border around the sentiment. I'm just using some scrap black ribbon I had, and I have a jar of scrap ribbon, and this was just happened to be in there, so thought it would add a little bit to the card. I'm just knotting it, and then I'll trim off the ends at an angle. I actually matched the black to the love you on the tag. If it had been a chocolate brown or blue, I would match it to that, whatever the actual tag or stamped image is. I was matching it to that. And it seemed just a little too bland with the pattern, the pink and red pattern on top of the blue pattern paper I created. So I'm just going to do a small border around this one piece with just some white cardstock to kind of separate the patterns a little bit. I'm just adhering that straight to the white cardstock, and then I'll adhere the white cardstock to the blue patterned piece I created. You can center this if you want, cut down your card base a little bit. That's what I was just looking here to see if I wanted to do that, but I decided to keep the entire thing so you could see more of the blue pattern paper I created. I'm just using, once again, the dimensional adhesives. And then I'll adhere it down to the blue pattern paper. It'll be off center to the right, but it'll be centered from the top and the bottom. Okay, and I'll put it right here, like I said, off to the right but centered up and down. Alright, and there you go. That is the rest of the card. I hope this gives you some new ideas. Alright, thank you for joining.